Hey everybody, happy Friday night. It's Friday night and it's weird that I for the last few months I have been hanging out on YouTube and on Facebook on Friday nights, but it's okay. It's great because I enjoy the conversations we have on Ready to Love. I hope you guys watched. I hope you guys are ready to have a great conversation. There's so much in tonight's episode, and we actually didn't get a chance to talk last week, so I can't wait to hear what you guys think about what happened last week. But I want to bring my guest on tonight. I have another podcaster and a relationship reporter. So please help me welcome my guest for tonight, Miss Toy of Just Toy. Hey, girl.
Hi. Hi. I'm doing well. I may have a little lag. I'm actually at an event, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. We won't keep you too long. We'll try to have a quick conversation and let you get back in. I didn't know you were at an event.
Girl, but I'll make it do what it do.
All right. Well, first of all, tonight's episode, there are so many different points to touch on. But before we get into that, we always talk about, pop culture, what's going on. I talk about relationships all the time. So you guys,
Yes.
before we get into Ready to Love, I want to ask your opinion, Toy, on this recent trend of exes coming back and into people's lives. Earlier this week on Fox, I talked about Lamar Odom talking about the fact that he was, Khloe Kardashian was his soulmate and his one true love.
Mm-hmm.
Girl Vivica Fox.
Ooh, child. Look, Auntie Viv. That's all I can say.
Vivica has risked it all. She has risked it all.
Listen, and why not?
And then did you see, so 50 Cent, if you guys aren't up to speed, Vivica was doing another interview and these two were together in 2003. So this is many years ago. But however, we know love has no limits. That's how she feels. That was her true love. His now girlfriend, Cuban Link, has gotten into the conversation and she's throwing shade, saying it's speaking menopause for me. It's all bad.
Oh.
The shade, the old lady shade is horrible. And then last but not least, Diddy posting pictures of him and J-Lo together. So I want to ask you, Toy, what are your thoughts on exes? If you have feelings for an ex, ironically, tonight's Ready to Love, was about exes as well. So
Right.
If you have feelings for an ex, even if years have gone by and they have moved on, what do you think about people, sharing how they feel and shooting their shot again?
Okay. I don't have a problem with people shooting their shot again. I really don't. Um, but let's be respectful. These people are in relationships now. So let's be respectful. I mean, if you wanted to reach out to them, whatever, and let them have their little moment and you let them do their decision making. But to Diddy, that was kind of, I think Jennifer is trying to get back with Ben, right? Are they back together?
Been seen out with Ben. They haven't, acknowledged
Officially.
it back together, but we do he sees the pictures of them out vacationing and hanging out together.
Right. So on Diddy's end, I kind of feel like he just being low key shady. Like I, I just feel like that was just too much. And Auntie Viv, I'm not mad at her for saying that 50 Cent was the love of her life. To be aware of who you are and what you had, that's fine. But at some point, you just have to kind of gather yourself, girl. Just gather yourself, sweetie. Like, don't do that. You don't do it.
It seems like she was never in love, and I think with that, the thing I think that bothers Vivica Fox about her and 50 Cent is the fact that it ended not because she was ready for it to end. He broke up with her because of everybody else being in their business. So sometimes the idea is better than the reality.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like that. I feel like a lot of people have an ideal of love and they're in love with that idea. And then once, and I think that's her. I think that's a lot of them,
Yeah.
the names that you name, that they all love this idea because I don't see 50 can get it together with anybody because he has this idea. He loves the ideal of love, but to actually be in love it's a work. it takes work. It is not this
Yeah.
this this fantasy ride. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. We got to get, Alexis says, I'm ready for this conversation. We got to get into Ready to Love. I love to talk about a little bit of pop culture first, just to, because it's all about relationships. But tonight's episode, the ladies were asked to introduce their number one guy,
Yes.
ex. First of all, that doesn't even seem like a good idea.
Listen, honey, as soon as I saw Clarence, I said, "Oh, okay, this about to be interesting."
This is interesting. The entire thing was interesting. We didn't do a recap last week. So last week, Chrysanthemum went home, and it's ironic because, in my opinion, Chrysanthemum and Ron really were the best match, right? I think he let his friends talk about, because tonight we see that things quickly fell apart with Ron and Alexis because
Right.
they really aren't the same. And he made a comment tonight, and he said Chrysanthemum, well, about last week, he said Chrysanthemum and him were like the same person. He said that last week, but we see him this week. He really doesn't, he and Alexis are not on the same page outside of the fact that they, talk, but they don't have the same priorities. I don't even think he really is into all the Barack and Michelle stuff that she talks. I think it just sounded good. What do you think?
I think it did. I think he played himself, honestly. I
Yeah.
think it was more or less like you said in the beginning, it's more of an idea of a relationship. It's more of what I think honestly, I think social media got everybody twisted, and they have this idea of what a relationship should look like. The whole relationship goals. So we should look like Michelle and Barack, and baby, Michelle and Barack didn't look like they self some years ago.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
I feel like people are striving for things that took work, and he's not gonna find that. You really have to grow into a relationship, and I
Mm-hmm.
think him and Chrysanthemum. I'm sorry, I may be saying her name wrong. I'm
No,
gonna say Chris because that girl says she don't like for nobody to mess up her name. So Chris,
right.
I'm gonna say Chris and him. I think would have been a better match,
Yeah.
just because they just had the same energy. Now they may have got into heated arguments
Yeah.
during times, but I think she would have been probably a better match for him, for definitely.
I wanted to ask you because I thought it was interesting, and I gotta say I kind of appreciate Chris's Chrysanthemum, her just being honest about who she was. I feel like a lot of times people come on and they try to give you this sugar-coated version. Oh, I want to be your piece, and I want to be domestic, and I want to be, and that's not what everybody wants, right? So
Hmm.
to come on there and say, I want it to be all about me. I'm selfish. I don't want to. I mean, a lot of people felt, had a reaction to it, but I appreciated the fact that she was really honest with herself. Not every woman wants to be a mother, and that's okay. What do
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
think about that? Because the guys all reacted to the fact that she wasn't going crazy about them. And then she said, which I agree with her, she said, guys get angry when you give them back their own medicine. So she wasn't texting all of them back and chasing them. She wasn't the pick me girl. And I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that. I think people have when people are very direct in how they feel about their self. I think people take it as they're being arrogant. Because I get this a lot. That I think I know everything or something like that. But it's more or less that I'm just confident about me. It don't have anything to do with you, where it's not a rebuff or like something against you. It's just that I'm very aware of who I am, and
Yeah.
she was very aware of who she was, and she's okay with it. And so if you don't want to accept that, that's fine, and move on.
One.
But
Yeah.
to say she should just, if that girl was fine, pretty much, she was fine, and she knew she was fine, and she wasn't taking all that bull crap. So.
Right. I did think that because she was very clear that she knew she was beautiful. She was like, my mom went to Italy and wanted to bring something pretty back, so she brought me. And she was very clear that
Honey.
she was not chasing and it was okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta respect that. Where I
I
think,
do too. I mean, her attitude was a little, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I mean, girls, let the girls be the girls and call it a day.
I think one of the times when she said she didn't want to be on an interview, she just had very little patience for anything that didn't fit into what she wanted. So
I think that was more or less what the guys was upset about. Not that she was so self-aware. I think it was more or less like, oh, she ain't got time for nothing but what she got time for.
yeah,
So I think that was more or less their issue.
yeah,
Instead of saying it like, oh, she just, all about herself, just that she didn't have time. And I think she just really knew who she liked at the time. I think she, like, this is who I like, this is who I like. So I'm not texting him back. Ain't no need for me playing with him.
right.
You know, we
Was
ain't
not
even finna play these games.
was not trying to play the game, and I respect that. But it doesn't keep you on the show really long. That
No.
she was like, I'm not texting it back because I don't need to.
I ain't feeling them.
So okay, so Chrysanthemum's gone. Ron and Alexis, I don't think that's going to work. I asked you earlier. There was a clip that was they put out before tonight's episode showing Alexis talking about her religious convictions and the fact that she's very, very into her faith. Ron is like, I've had negative experiences with the church. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to end up being a pastor like your ex. Don't expect that from me. I'm not mad at him because I feel like there are a lot of people that have been burned by the church. And I do think that is a valid argument.
Right.
So I think if he said that he still had faith or he had belief, but he wasn't in the church, that would have been a different story. But to me, Ron again has chrysanthemum energy. Like anything that that's not his way, he really doesn't have time for it. He seems very focused on what he wants, and he's like, hey, if she likes him and that's what it is, I'm good.
Right.
That's why I'm like, he should have been with Chrysanthemum because they to me have the same energy. They're not really trying to bend and work a lot with what other people want to do, because he was very clear with Alexis, and even in his in the conversations that he has, he's really, really in his way. You know what I mean?
He really is. I feel like that conversation could have went a little different. I feel like she should have asked more questions. Because like you said, a lot of people have been hurt by the church. Church hurt is real. I don't take it more as a church anymore because, of course, I've had church hurt. I don't take it more. I take it more on an individual basis now because it was the individual, not the whole church itself. And also, some people consider themselves more spiritual, and spiritual and religion is two different things. I feel like you got to have a relationship with a higher power, so it's more about the relationship. So I feel like she should have asked more questions. I think immediately when she heard him say he doesn't pray, he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think she should have just asked more questions. Maybe if he was able to feel more vulnerable in that conversation, he might have opened up a little more. I think, she was just like, oh no, and I understand God, God is important for me. That's one of those things, like, I can't negotiate with you. I'm so sorry, boo-boo, we ain't gonna be able to go far. But at the same time, I understand that people's walk look different. So, so I feel like she should have asked more questions. I don't feel like they should be together either way, but just as a friend, I feel like she should have asked more questions.
Right.
So
I think you made a good point. That's really not a conversation that you should have with barriers up, because his experience, he said that he was religious. He was in the church at one point and he was hurt. So that was a conversation that should have been had where you find out where did that come from, and kind of empathize with that. Now, Tommy's wife actually did ask. She said, well, as the man, men have to lead, because the comment that he made about the fact that I'm not, if something happens, I'm not going to sit and wait and pray about it. I'm going to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
that could be seen as just, okay, it's not mean that I don't want to pray at all, but it means I have to be, my grandmother used to say, God helps those who help themselves.
Exactly, girl. And I say faith without works is dead, honey, and that's Bible.
Yeah.
That's real. And then too, I want to say a lot of people try church. They don't never try Jesus. Like,
Mhm.
you got to try him. That
Yeah.
ain't got the church. Yes, that's the building you go to for practice. That's where you go for practice. That is not trying God. Like, trying God is like trying his word. Like,
Right.
hey, this what you said, God. So run that back.
Right.
So that's how you try God. You literally call him on his word and
Right.
do what you do. Like, okay, God, you said this, so what we doing?
Right.
So
That has
otherwise, you know,
nothing to do with the church and the building fund or none of that. But
nothing.
yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. So
Yeah,
I hate that misunderstanding came, and then also that I mean that's a really big thing. The
yeah.
whole church hurt. That's a huge conversation that I think
Mm.
could have been handled differently. But that's the beauty of forums like this, so we can kind of go into those conversations a little bit more. I was like, there's a lot in this episode. There is the church hurt, and then I want to move on to Liz and David because
Yes.
David,
Look, yeah, David.
David, first of all, let's just run it back. First of all, last week there was some upsets to me last week because David said Kyra was his number one. When David he and Liz, had this connection, and he mentioned the fact that she called him when she kissed Jason, and he felt like that's, she was giving him respect, but I don't need to, you're wanting something from me that you don't want to give in return. That was a problem for me because he mentioned that somebody else she was about to get kicked out last week because he did not mention her as his number one. So then we get to this week, David's behavior with her and what she shared that he did off camera, I thought was very evident of the fact that he's extremely insecure. It was clear about the fact that when he sat down across from her ex, he couldn't even sit. He was just totally insecure.
I don't know. I honestly like watching him toward the end too, when they were doing like the wrap up kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. His whole body language seems like super erratic. So I
Yeah.
don't know like what's going on in that episode, like what's going on behind the scenes. But I, I hope they're gonna tell him he has to go. I honestly do.
Right.
Um, just because he seems all over the place emotional. He does not seem like he's ready for a relationship. He seems scared.
Mm-hmm.
Very scared of. He just seems scared, like of commitment, of like really this whole process. So
Right.
I
Right.
yeah, I think it's time for him. I hope that's what she's gonna tell him. I don't know. We gotta wait and see. But when she said, "Hold on, let me go first," I said, "Please let her go first."
Yeah, but I was like, he was so intent on what he had to say because he was mad at her because of the situation with him coming to dinner and seeing her ex. And I
Mm-hmm.
probably didn't. It seemed like all the guys were kind of taken off guard. So none of them
Yeah.
knew that was going on everywhere. But his reaction, he was the only person that acted a fool, in my opinion. He just
Mm-hmm.
was totally uncomfortable. What did you think of the guy kind of holding his feet to the fire and asking him questions about what he did, putting her on the spot?
I think I didn't mind it per se, but I did mind that I don't feel like she should allow him to really have that whole entire conversation with him. Like maybe he could have said like, yeah, she told me about a situation, she felt uncomfortable. So what's this? You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
like to go into detail, I'm sorry, I do understand David as a man. Like, okay, hold on. Like
Yeah,
she could have told me this before we got here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That just seemed kind of messy. And
yeah,
at the end of the day, a man is a man. So what you're not gonna do is try to get your homeboy to handle me
yeah,
on live TV, on
yeah,
national TV. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like if it was just us, really just us, then I might not. But we're on television.
Yeah. And and I would agree with you. I guess what he did off camera, but I think him putting her on the spot in front of his friends was equally as disrespectful or equally as out of line, right?
It definitely was. I mean, definitely it was. But like, are we really gonna do this tit for tat?
Right, right.
Like, ain't we like 40? Didn't I read that right? Like, I mean, at some point,
definitely in that
somebody
age.
need an adult.
Yeah, yeah, true. Well, you guys keep chiming in. Mia says, I think Ron and David going home next week. I definitely think David is going to go home. I don't know why Ron would be around, because I think by Alexis breaking down in tears about the pray and stuff, and Tommy, I just don't see that working. I also don't see Alexis and AJ. What did you think about Alexis and AJ's chemistry tonight?
I think it was cute. It was cute. That's all I got for Alexis and AJ. I feel like they just ran up on something. It was cute.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think AJ. I think he's handsome. I think he's good for TV because a lot of attractive qualities. But I don't think he really is serious about being vulnerable and opening up, because he hasn't really showed any sense of vulnerability with anybody. In theory, says he's just trying to stay around. I think he is, but I also think that that's just him. I think that's also his personality. He's a music producer. He's artistic, but he's very attractive. So he knows that, women are constantly coming at him, and he's very laid back and kind of lets them come to him. And I don't think he's really trying to pursue anybody, because there was a question of, she said, well, he doesn't seem like he's pursuing, and he still didn't. He just gave you a kiss.
Exactly. That child, he just run around kissing people. I just can't. He cute. That's all I can say. He cute. They cute. I'll see him at the reunion.
Now, there was another big, it was, like I said, a lot of conversation pieces in tonight's episode. So Amber and KJ or Chris, they've been each other's number one the whole time. One thing I say about KJ, I mean, he's serious. When he picks one woman, he zeroes in on her. That's what he did last.
He did.
He was like, the one I want. I only got eyes for her. He did the exact same thing this season, but it's working for him because that woman did the same thing for him.
Yeah.
I applaud that. What did you think about the conversation at the table? I wasn't shocked. Looking at the guy, I wasn't shocked. But to hear a conversation of this, Amber being in this relationship with this guy years ago, and then him coming out to her during the relationship, and then her being able to kind of be there for him through him coming out. That's great conversation piece, but we don't hear people talk about that a lot. What was your feeling on that? You guys, please chime in. Everybody that's watching, thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, we're talking about Ready to Love, recapping tonight's episode with the exes. We've talked about Alexis and Ron. We've talked about Liz and David. We're talking about AJ, Amber, Chris, and Amber's ex acknowledging that he came out during their relationship and shared with her that he was bisexual. That's a big thing. And the fact that she could say that she could be there for him even in the middle of a relationship, I give her a lot of credit, because I don't know if many women could do that.
Yeah, I think that was very honorable of her, very brave of her. I know for myself, I don't know how I would have dealt that situation. So I'm glad she could do that for him and be that for him. That shows a lot for her as a person. Mm-hmm. So I think that was great.
Yeah.
Honestly, on her part, Chris seemed to think it was,
he did.
Yeah, honorable as well. So, and he is very laid back and very. I do like them two together. I do. Yeah. I really do. I mean, she seems kind of stark sometimes.
Yeah. The DA.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say that's what I kind of chopped it up to, you
Mhm.
know. But and he seems more but I think that dynamic can work because she's like stark, and then he's this smooth, velvety, you
Yeah,
know. He just gives me this real smooth, velvety, like, niceness.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think he's a really nice guy. Um,
hmm.
I was not prepared with him wanting 5 kids, but she said she wants a lot of kids too. She said she wants a lot of kids too. There was a statement she said that I think I've heard from a lot of female friends, and you guys let me know what you think. She said, I really want to be a mother more than I want to be a wife. And I thought,
Mm.
that's really sad because I think women believe, with kids, that's unconditional love that's never going to go anywhere. We don't all trust marriage that way because marriage has shown us it is not, you know. So
It's you know what? It's so weird when I hear it's so weird when I actually hear people say this, because my son used to say this all the time. He used to say, I want to be a single dad," and I'm like, "Is that a goal?" Like I didn't know that was a goal. I said, "No, son, I'm telling you, you don't want that."
yeah,
So this fear of an actual commitment nowadays is like, I don't know. It's weird to me because me and my husband got married really young, and everybody's always like, "Y'all are so brave." I'm like, we honestly weren't that brave. It's just that we weren't. It was just about a lot of people live in the what if it doesn't happen, but if this doesn't work out. I never thought of, but what if this don't work out? I knew it was a possibility,
right.
but I never thought of, but if this doesn't work out.
Wow.
I just never had that mindset. So
Yeah,
I think that everybody has the mindset of, but if this don't work out,
yeah,
you know, like, oh yeah, I think we should be aware of the possibility of it not working out. But
right.
at the same time, don't go into anything with the but if this don't work out.
Yeah. I
You
was
know?
going to say, I want to tell people. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm talking with podcaster Toy with Just Toy, and Toy actually is one of those people that I respect her opinion because she's done this thing. She's been married. How many years have you been married now?
It will be 25 June 29th.
Congratulations, early happy anniversary to you guys.
Thank you.
But so what do you think? So being married that long and getting married young, you're not like you hear that for people in their 60s, but you're a young woman. You guys got married early and have
Yeah.
stood the test of time. So what has been when you watch shows like this and you see all this stuff going on, what do you think people are missing in the reality of what it takes to have that longevity in marriage?
The core thing I think everybody is missing is the growth. Like, it takes work, and you have to grow together. Nobody is gonna automatically know, like, this makes you, this does this, or you feel like this. Nobody's gonna know your triggers. Like, your family knows you that well, but you have to teach this other person about you. And I
Mhm.
think nobody wants to put in that work. They want it to automatically be, like I said, the Barack and Michelle story. And I'm
Mhm.
like, you guys don't understand. This is a story. That means it has a beginning, a middle, and we're still, working toward the end here.
Mhm.
So I think people are just afraid of growing together and what that looks like on a daily basis.
Right.
Like, it's daily work. You cannot unconsciously go home and say, this household is well. You
Mhm.
have to consciously think about the other person. So
Right.
I think that's what everybody's really, honestly, I think that's what, once you get that, you're like, okay, I can move around.
Yeah. What do you think for you? What's been the most challenging thing for you being married, and what has been the most rewarding thing for your marriage?
Um, the most challenging thing I think are the stages.
Hmm.
Um, we go through different stages. And now I'm gonna say my personal challenge. My personal challenge was learning to be an individual person in a couple.
Hmm.
So that was my most challenging
Yeah.
thing. Personal growth within a marriage.
Yeah.
So
That
that was my um and rewarding. The most rewarding thing is, man, I just feel like looking back on it, God really just set everything up. Like I look back on it now and I'm like, oh my God. Like we used to run in the same circles and never met each other.
Yeah.
Because then I think I would have like really, ate him up and chewed him out and spit him up. He'd have been gone too fast. But like just watching God does what in our relationship, I still love my husband. I still enjoy my husband. We laugh, like, everybody always asks, are you married? I'm like, yeah, but happily, honey. This
Yeah.
this ain't fake. This ain't TV. This
Yeah.
real. Every day I still love this man.
Nah, I
So
love that. Love
yeah.
Well, Toy, let people know where they can find Just Toy, where they can hear your podcast, where they can follow you on social media and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, on Instagram, I'm toy.jest, so you can find me there. On Facebook, I'm Just Toy. You can find me on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts. Baby, you can find me everywhere. Uh, I'm Just Toy on all social media platforms, and like I said, toy.jest on Instagram. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate, before you get out of here, let us know your predictions for the way this whole Ready to Love thing is going to play out. Who do you think stays together? Who do you think is going to, let's just give us the couples that you think are going to make it in the end.
Okay, I'm thinking my prediction is Amber and Chris are going to stay together.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, honestly, I want to say Jason is going to end up with Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, Joelle and I forget her name,
Vernisha.
Vernisha. I love them together, but I don't think it's going to go. I think it's probably going to go maybe a month after the show, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I love them together. I wish they could get it together, but I really do. I love them.
Yeah.
I just love their down to earthness. And everybody else, I think they're just gonna
Go,
roll away.
yeah. Go back to
Look,
the.
yeah, roll away.
Well, I appreciate you hanging out with me on a Friday night, even at an event. Thank
Yeah,
you
I don't mind, honey.
to hang out with us this week, and we will definitely look forward to talking to you again.
All right, I enjoy.
Soy.
Bye.
All right. I can't wait to hear you guys' predictions for In Theory Says, I agree, Jason and Liz will get together. Can I tell you guys something? I don't really like Jason and Liz. I feel like Liz is very mature. She's at a different point in her life. I don't feel like Jason is the best partner for her. I just don't see that. I don't see it. I know that he likes her a lot. I just don't see that. Bernadette, I agree with something you said earlier about David. David does seem very hurt. David has been in a couple of marriages, and I think that he never has really healed. And I mean, we're just, all speculating on what we see on the show, but I just feel like he is not healed. He seems very uncomfortable in the relationship space. Like, you can't be that upset about, I mean, you're on a dating show, right? People should be interacting with other people. His energy to me seems very like he could be verbally abusive because he's very insecure. At least that's what I see from him. All stemming from hurt, past hurt, and all that. He just doesn't seem comfortable in his skin to me. Jason will end with Kyra. I really was pushing for Kyra and AJ because I feel like since they went on a date before, excuse me, you guys, I got allergies acting up here in Atlanta, but I felt like they had some chemistry. I just feel like AJ isn't really ready to be vulnerable. I think she enjoys Jason. I still just don't really see Kyra and Jason working. I think they probably will pick each other on the show. I don't really see that working. Ready to Love has got me thinking, like, I don't know who works. Like, you don't know who actually can stay together, because there's one thing when the cameras are on you and people are trying to stay on the show, you just don't know who is serious about being open for love. I like Vernisha and Joelle. Everybody likes Vernisha and Joelle, but the fact that Joelle last show said that he actually would pick Kyra, that really threw me off from them. I know Vernisha did not know that at the time, right? Because she's still thinking that the two of them are each other's one and only. But I thought that was kind of foul that he would just throw her under the bus like that and say that Kyra was his pick. He explained it, but that just didn't sit well with me. So I don't really have I don't have a lot of faith in them. I like Joelle a lot. I like Vernisha. And if he hadn't done that, I would have been rooting for them the whole way. But that just shows me that he's a little, I don't trust him now. Like for him to go in there and talk like that, knowing that everybody had seen their connection, that just shows that, maybe he's not 100%, serious about this process. Tonight's show was good, I believe, because we got a chance to, like I said, there were a lot of great conversation pieces. I do think the church hurt that Ron talked about is something that we need to talk about, right? People need to talk about, especially in dating, because religion and expectations are a big deal, in relationships. But I also think both sides deserve to be heard. And, just because someone has experienced a hurt that you may not have experienced doesn't make them a bad person. Maybe they're just working through that. And I don't think we're supposed to be judging each other on our experiences. They are keeping us entertained, but I do think that this is like a reflection of what most of us see in the dating world, right? There are people that are open. There are people that are not. There are people that are dealing with past hurt and projecting that past hurt onto their new relationships. There are people that think they're ready for love and are not ready for love. So all that is happening in real life. And I think all of us can probably see ourselves in at least one of the people on the show. I know we don't like cancel culture, but 3 men would be on that list. I really think that David has shown he's not ready to love. So I'm thinking that the ladies sent him home. Kudos to Will Packer and Tommy Miles for keeping us all connected and engaged and not letting us know who went home tonight. But I really just can't imagine. No one else really had a connection with David. So I can't imagine him sticking around. So we'll see. I think if David didn't have so much hurt, he and Liz could have been a good couple, but he just is not ready. So, hey, on Monday, we will be back. Reality Check is back on Monday with Angela Robinson from The Have and the Have-Nots. We're going to have a conversation with her. And then the following Monday, we're back into it with the Ready to Love cast. So make sure you tune in and hear what the I don't want to say rejected singles, but the ones that have gone home have to say. I can't wait to talk to Chrysanthemum because I would like to hear what she has to say about the fact of, the guy saying that she wasn't ready to love. We saw her little excerpt when she exited and she said that she was going to find out. She's competitive and she's really all about herself. And like I said, I love the fact that she was unapologetically like that. I think more of us need to be honest about who we are, and whoever you are, there is a fit for that. You don't have to fit yourself into someone else's mold. As long as you're healthy and in a good space and ready to work hard, I think everybody can be a great partner because we all have different priorities. We all have different needs. Ebony says David is crazy. David definitely has some stuff going on. He definitely has some stuff going on. So y'all tune in. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Friday night. I know that we're all getting back out. And so pretty soon, Friday nights, Ready to Love will be difficult because we're all back out. Atlanta is all the way open now. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Please join me back here on Monday and on Thursday for an episode of From Christal XO. We are back talking about Married at First Sight, Black love, of course, Ready to Love, and all this, all your conversations on love, and even a little bit about the 50 Cent Vivica Fox. What do y'all think about that? Like, what do y'all think about Vivica still being in love with 50 after all these years? And 50 dragging her online. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think Ron shouldn't have been swayed to let Chris go. Yeah, I agree. I think Ron and Chris could have been a good couple on this show. Ron and Chrysanthemum, to me, were a good fit. Anytime someone says we don't have to talk, we just understand each other, to me, that's a really good sign that you're, with the right person. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys get out of here. I thank y'all for hanging out. I will be back on Monday at 8 o'clock. In theory, 50 Cent is just not a good person. All I know is that I definitely would not be proclaiming love to him after he dragged her on Instagram a few years ago. It was horrible. I feel for Vivica Fox. I really do. And I hope that she finds a new love so she can forget about 50 Cent. All right. I'll see y'all back here Monday at 8 o'clock. Y'all have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial weekend. Have some fun. And let's hang out here Monday at 8 for Angela Robinson with the Have and the Have Nots. I'll see you guys then.